Hey Tornado Tumblers coaches, just here to overview weeks 4 through 6 of the lesson plan. Just wanted to show a suggestion of how to keep this area, just to make sure kids aren't turning it into a playground. I did have to take the panel mat off the floor for the lesson plan, so high schoolers, make sure that there's something under you so that this is safe. And if a mat has got moved back over here, you might need to take it for the lesson plan. So I wanted to point out next to each station how I placed a dot. So those can be so strategic and helpful when you are trying to control kids' behavior, because feet on the dot is pretty easy and referencing the color of that dot is also easy. I also thought on this station I would tell the kids to walk back on the white line and stand on the green dot. Also note that this session there's 4 stations per area and most of our groups do not exceed 8. So that should also help with making sure that no kids are bored because they're either standing on a dot or doing gymnastics, not waiting in a line. So this is running pullover. I chose to set it up kind of pushed against the wall. So what you need to make sure is that this cheese mat doesn't move when they run on it. You could also do that with multiple mats to the wall or a springboard, but I thought this might be the most efficient way. Then you want them to stand on the cheese mat holding their chin by the bar and try to run up the cheese mat and kick over for a pullover. It will be very challenging for most kids, but just trying it, it's helpful. Their first mistake will be that when they jump off the cheese mat, they'll throw their head backwards and their arms will go immediately all the way straight. So what you want to do is encourage them to keep their arms bent and look for their feet. Then this is the station. That's pretty much a repeat of last time. So it's donkey kicks, but using the springboard and the red block instead, which is considerably harder for them. Then this station, they're doing run and jump to stick. So they should start where it says AAI on the panel mat, then run 2 feet on the trampoline and stick, finish, soldier on the pit pillow. The next challenge we should give them is to arm circle backwards onto the trampoline and just really stay near this one and make sure that each kid is landing in a stick position. These mats might need to be collapsed a little bit during warm up and you might really only use this one or this one. That big panel mat is where they can puddle jumper or cartwheel over the mat. And this is for kids who are already successfully able to try a cartwheel. Then they can cartwheel in between that carpeted area in between the mats so that they can start to pretend like it's a balance beam and see if they're actually going in a straight line or not. The next set of stations is over with the beams, and notice they are kind of close together. Now, I think that you might end up needing to spot this cheese mat or the furthest beam. I strategically put those 2 on the outside so that you could stand where you could see all 4 of the stations and put them closer together. So maybe if your hands are spotting a backward roll, then your voice can be coaching the 2 beams in the middle. And also note where I put the dots on these. I put 2 dots here and 1 there so that kids are standing in line, that they're not right next to each other. For backward roll, I hung a picture of backward roll kind of right there if you want to use that to help. And in the lesson plan it says talk to them about pizza hands, which you can see in the picture, which is where you'd say to kids, I'd carry 2 pizzas like this, and that's how we start our backward roll. And we lay down, we want to smush both pizzas into the ground really hard and then work on their feet coming over the top. Then over the pit blocks, we want to be working on 2 feet to 2 feet jumping and then working on getting your knees up as high away from the beam as we can. On the teeter-totter station, I'm going to do a separate video to save so that you guys can see that. And then on beam, we want to make sure that we're teaching those key words, mount, dismount, and then in between we're teaching releve, which means tiptoes, and you can see in the lesson plan how to challenge them differently for that. And then we'll head over to area 3. When you're at monkey walk, this will have to look probably very different, even kid to kid, but definitely age group to age group. So I would say a 5-6 class might need a red block instead of the yellow block to reach up to the bar, and then would need maybe this 8-inch under to drop into the hula hoop, where a 7-8 class might need that yellow block, but you might need to pull the 8-inch over there so the hula hoop can be on the flat ground. It's a lot more challenging to do a monkey walk if your feet can touch the floor. So we want them to not have to touch the floor unless they pick to upgrade that. And a monkey walk is scooching your hands sideways across the bar. And no matter their leg position, they should be trying to glue their legs together, point their feet, and then of course it says, you know, you can have them hold a tuck or an L for those kids who are super duper strong. Then over on the blue beam, note where the dots are on each of these. I also put a picture of kicks forwards up there so you could show it to kids if you want. Then over on the low beam, I like to put the shoelace there for pivot turn, because you can tell the kids to put one foot on each side of the shoelace, and your feet shouldn't cross over one side or the other. So a lot of kids try and twist their legs up and step, and then you can say keep one foot on each side, and spin is a good word that they understand for rotating like a pivot turn. And then go up to the red pad. I put to do a split jump because that's kind of a version of the forwards kicks that they're practicing, but many kids might be nervous even to jump at all. So you can suggest to them a straight jump or a tuck jump if they're not feeling like a split jump. But I would show the kids what a split jump is and tell them to try it, because you just never know what kids might feel comfortable doing that, and we should give them the chance to if they do feel comfortable. On this cheese mat is where we might end up doing a little bit of spotting. It'll also be tricky because you're kind of gonna have to have your back to something, so make sure that you don't just ignore whatever kids are behind you. The kids will probably lay the wrong direction, so make sure that they lay on their back with their feet pointing up the hill. So that puts in their bridge their feet higher than their hands, which makes them feel like that's the direction you'd want to do a kick over for the first time. And you can kind of read in the lesson plan through the different variations of this, but holding a bridge itself is a skill for many kids. And then many kids have done it in their backyard and maybe need to do the challenge where they would start, you know, down on the base mat and kick to a handstand and land in a bridge and then kick over back down, just kind of depending upon their other experiences that they've had. I will send a couple other videos with this, and thanks. Bye.